Like if I courage to fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer my Lord. I die by day and watch I by night, Lord. I pray you restore your people's sight, Lord. Magnify courage to fight the fight. Oh, say fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer my Lord. Conquer I die by day and watch I by night, Lord. I know you'll restore your people's sight, Lord. I might cry for peace and justice. I might rather to die than to live. I see oppressors sitting on their throne, trying to dictate the price of my soul. Oh, shall give I courage to fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer I. Oh, I die by day and watch I by night. I pray you restore your people's sight. Through soul and conscience, fire burns, light inspires change. I won't fall victim. Shall give I courage to fight the fight. Oh, say fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer I. Oh, God, I by day, but I by night. I pray you restore your people's sight. Nothing got to be firm and strong in this time of hatred. Selfishness at its highest job, but my soul will never be slow. Jealous, confidence, and weapon, but intention and sleep. But people dead with us, love was heaven. Don't know how to proceed. You don't have to know. Try if I could to fight. I know they might try to conquer us. Oh, that I by day and watch I by night. Lord, I pray you restore your people's sight. Oh, Lord.
Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks and praise. Graveyard shift. Yeah, man, them call it the midnight hour. Yeah, so once the energy stimulates with a step forward, time is irrelevant. Yeah, man, so we do give thanks and praise for the true expression. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. For the true articulation. And for this perfection, we do give thanks. As usual, we choose to remain consistent. Hence, we bring forward consistent information that correspond and associate with the specific birth certificate or birth registration form or surety, specifically public trust surety information. So it's a dichotomy of the person. Public debt Really? Public, debit, left side, private, credit, right side. Now them love talk about debt. Now we are so the person, which would constitute the man, and also, what I say, its persona. Yeah. And when you're a man, you gotta have energy a flow through you. And wherever you find energy, you gotta find positive and negative, that's a charge. Yeah, so that direct the flow of currency. Anyway, what's a public, debit, left side, private, credit, right side? The living soul manifests as a natural person. Normally we say as West Indian or as man, but we're gonna put it in a we call the legal context. So it says the living soul manifests as a natural person is the paramount principle and ultimate source of credit, currency, and energy within all contractual agreements and stipulate the terms thereof. Now it says a natural person. A natural person is a living human being. Legal systems can attach rights and duties to the natural person without their express consent. So if them can do that without your express consent, then them will use tacit acquiescence because you stay silence, then you just them gain consent that way. Yeah man. Them manufacture consent. This is why may I say the system that is in place, as statutory as it is, it now apply to a man such as I, who can discern it easily. Yeah man. Well, let me stay focused here. Now, what's as a natural person is a living human being, or the living man, or the living West Indian. And with the legal systems, which is this statutory corporate system that is in place, can attach rights and duties to the natural person without their express consent. Number one, the concept of a natural person appears in business law and bankruptcy law, where it provides a contrast with an artificial person or a legal person, which is an entity that is treated as a person for legal purposes. We're being specific here. We're not talking about law. We are talking about legality. And what is legal is separate and distinct and apart from what is law or lawful. So when we are talking about law, we have to be specific. What law are we talking about? Is it the constitutional law that is maintained by the standards of the common law of the land, or is it the admiralty law that is maintained by way of statute? Yeah, and the international law of the sea. So there is a dichotomy, there is a duality, there is a difference, my people. Yeah, man. I always have to step forward for my base people. Yeah, man. We are moved from the base level to the basic level and beyond. But most people, you know, they are way ahead of us, but I man can't step away and not leave at least, if not breadcrumbs, a pathway for ones and ones who may choose to think outside of the box. You know what I mean? Or choose to think autonomously, to think freely. So we have to place our information here. Yeah, man, and do it this way. Yeah, man, remove all of the complexities as best as we can. Yeah, man. So again, we say number 2, natural person describe an actual or factual human being. Number 3 was a legal person describes a partnership, corporation, or some other entity that has been provided with legal personhood by statute. So this is why I must say you people are statutory citizens. You understand? And that is only if you consent to such. Because I try to express to you people, I say, watch ya, them can only interface with this instrument right here. This is what I'm called the legal person, which is an entity that has been provided with legal personhood by statute, not by nature or nature's law or nature's God. This is by statutes, which are legal standards, alternatively used as rules and regulations created by man. So this is for honorable clarification. And this is for my grassroots people. Because I discover you have people now who really want this information, but they don't necessarily want to engage out there. Them rather stay off grid, and I can appreciate that. Yeah, I can truly appreciate that. And this is why I thought coming on my head when I said, I forgot make myself available probably like a Wednesday evening or a Thursday evening. When I just go out of the library. And for the ones them who have interest can just link up with me at that library and with us sit in and share information. And I man will probably commit myself to an hour or two or a few hours depending on the circumstance. But I don't mind, at least in an effort for share a little bit of knowledge what I man have, and we can all qualify research and make sure say we're correct or we're accurate in our effort to maintain a lawful standard, not necessarily a legal one. So I hope this bring honorable clarification for the ones and ones. And again, we have to naturally present with information because nobody not up on the island. I can't look on a local platform and have anyone express the information this way, especially from this concept, from this idea that we are free, always been free. All them can interface with is a piece of paper, that bond paper. You understand? So that is the concept man now talk about. Say, boy, we're supposed to subject ourselves and do this because the system said we should do it this way or do it that way. I have no interest in that. I'm not knocking it. but I have a machete, and according to I progress with a swing with machete and make a step. So if we don't know what is going on, then it don't make no sense to try to do nothing at all. But if you're going to do anything at all, it makes sense to totally comprehend at least the situation at hand, not just the public misinformation or the slave narrative that is produced in the public arena. That's for the specific statutory people. Man such as I is outside of that classification, and that's by my own intent, my own intention, my free will act, my free will volition. And each and every man have to, make them own choice. Yeah, man. So now we are talking about the legal person or the artificial or juristic person, which is a company that has full legal rights and responsibilities according to the law, whichever law them are used. I will say one, a company is a distinct and separate legal person. You understand? So the legal person is separate and distinct from the natural person. And I specifically choose to share the information this way because of the subtlety and the word wizardry. This is why we use specificity, directness. Yeah, man. Now, what's a dichotomy? A noun. One, a division or contrast between two things that are, or two, are represented as being opposed or entirely different. Three, a rigid dichotomy between the natural person and a legal person. I hope my people are well. I know now get it. Yeah. Because I place it with it, I will now get it freely. And I can't pay for them kind of information, yeah. Them kind of breakdown, yeah. In a absolutely no school or university here in this hemisphere. Why? Because there is no such curriculum. I present it now and I create it now right in front of you. And this is only an accumulation of the body of information that is out there. What you get is my perspective, my point of view, my opinion, my autonomous, that's a thought process. That's what I now get, which is in fact my intellectual property. That is priceless, but may I gift it freely and willingly. Yeah, man. And that is the beauty about certain gems because you gift it like that. People just chop it free, chop. It can't be important. Chop. You can't bother with that. Let me go over this. I got to spend $9,000 on the complexity where there is a mass of ones being complexed, being confused, but they'll never say, hey, hold on, teacher, I don't understand nothing. They will not do that. However, here we are. So it's a step-by-step process. We don't mind to share as much as we can, as best as we can. Now it's a public trust relationship. Hyman said, the woman, a mother, has granted created a trust relationship with the Crown Agency's hospital birth record application. to certify and record the life event of her, the woman, the mother's offspring. Number two, the Crown agency as the recipient becomes the trustee, which is the public trustee. Number three, the offspring of the grantor are the principal beneficiaries. Number four, the Crown agency cannot be the trustee and beneficiary at the same time. So when we share information, they are them just to them basic research. So when we are said there is a trust, yes, there is a trust. Once your birth certificate is there by way of the birth application form, then a trust relationship is created. It's all about your perspective. And I'll leave it like that. If you feel like, hey, it's devil thing and hey, it's war and it's craziness, then that's fine. It's all about your perspective. Now, we said a certification of vital record evidence this truth. So you say, all of what me I say, it's easy for me prove it. How? Because the birth registration form, or most people call a birth certificate, is still extant. I have one here and I can go order at least 3 more. I think you can order 3 of these instruments per year. Now we said the certification of vital record or birth registration form is the public trust surety, which is a bond created for use as a transmitting utility to interface between the West Indian or the man or the natural person and the Crown agency. The birth registration form is a public trust surety, which is a bond created for use as a transmitting utility to interface between the West Indian interface between the natural person. If I style it, I'll make a mess of these things. What's going on here? What's going on here? Between the natural person and the Crown agency, because the Crown agency is in a corporate capacity, so them have to create a corporation, which is the public trust surety, which is in fact the legal person. You understand? Because them can't interface with the money. When them do that, it is abominable. Because them try to tell themselves that them is God, when they're far removed from that supreme power. So my, angle is a little bit different. I now subject myself to say, boy, no government is anything at all. It's all beneath I as man. I who represent that natural person. You know what I mean? I who represent that, living soul. And by way of the birth registration form, then the creation of a persona, you understand, which is I shadow or I debit side, I public side that operate in the public, where the public corporate entities can interface with. So when me I talk about maybe a little bit, outside of what most of the mainlanders are dealing with, but is the very same information, is just about our perspective. Them can only deal with that piece of paper. All of their documents, the statutory instrument that create the governmental entity or the political entity known as a government, is in a corporate capacity, and it creates its corporate citizens or its statutory citizens, which is separate and distinct from the natural person, the man and woman. Like you only deal with a piece of paper, my people. This is what I'm trying to express. This is the paradigm shift. This is the new faculty of thinking. Why? Because it's all about contract. And under the natural law, our capacity to contract is unlimited. And all we need to do is ascertain the element or the elements that constitute a contract. So people, as how the system is, we have to learn to read and write, just like how everything become digital later. We're not going to necessarily use a pen and paper, but we still have to go read and write because we have to go type. This is why the court has said them now want my phone number. The judge specifically has said she don't want a phone number, she want an email. But I can understand that. Because normally me have numbers out there and then the numbers them rearrange or change. But the email not necessarily change. But sometimes like no, I can't access my email. So I forgot, provide some other means. However, they know my mailing address. They are just afraid to mail any documents to a man such as I. However, the email stand up in court the very same. Very same way. It's like me have a document now where I go get, you just say, witness tomorrow, and after that now I'm not gonna try and post mail anything. I go just scan it and send off an image of that scan to that obligee, and that will be my tender of payment. And subtly me share the information with ones well as we go along, but for us publicize everything, that's where we might place a little bit of restriction. Only because, when you go to school, you have to spend a lot of money. This kind of information and knowledge is expensive. You understand? But when a mind, I gift it out there only because we are choose to learn. And when you learn, you're in that mode, put it that way. So when you share information as if you teach, you're truly in fact learning. Yeah, man. And there's no better way to learn than to share information in the form of teaching. And again, this is for grassroots people, with base people, specifically ones when I read and write. Yet, because there's no limit, there's no blockage. You understand? Anyway, let's look at surety. Surety, a legal person, again, so you say, why am I say the surety? Again, a legal person who takes responsibility for the principles, performance of an undertaking. For example, they're appearing in court or the payment of a debt. Now, appearing in court. Remember, I'm telling them can only interface with the piece of paper. However, the piece of paper can't do nothing of its own. It needs its director. It needs its principal. It needs its executor. It needs its private trustee, because the public trustee is already established and the public beneficiaries is already established and the public grantor is already established. So now, when you talk about trustee, it's a whole different angle, very same triangular thing, because the trustee consists of the surety, it consists of an obligee, and then it consists of a principal. And the principal is usually the natural person. The surety is usually the legal person, guys, as a bank. And the obligee is usually the public trustee or its instrumentality. So, for instance, if Flo, as a company, send me a bill, even though the company name Flo, on the level that I am, I know so that Flow Company is registered to the very crown agency or the very state agency or the very political entity. It's registered there, making it an instrumentality. And remember, notice the agent is notice the principal. So when I am saying I'm the principal here on the private side, then there's always a principal out there on the public side. You understand, people? And the principal usually is the CEO or chief executive officer of whatever company or corporation out there. That's the top brass. So when we are say, appearing in court or payment of a debt, just know, sir, the younger person who can appear in court is a surety, but you can present yourself on behalf of the surety, or you can represent the surety. You cannot represent yourself. So a lot of the legal guru them would tell us, oh, you should go propria persona or pro se in your own. Watch me now. You should listen to their argument. You should represent yourself as sui juris or as propria persona. The moment you represent yourself, it's a conflict of interest. You can never again present yourself. You can always present yourself, and you can always, as an agent, as a principal, as a attorney, in fact, you can represent that surety or that public trust legal entity. I hope this will bring some clarity for my grassroots people. And remember, set the timeline. Yeah. A graveyard shift where most of the ones where the system, put to work, most likely they will be asleep right now. You understand? So then we'll catch this information later if we want to make it private. And we not see no reason for make it private, because we not behave inappropriate. So they have to know what is a surety. You understand? Everything where you say happen in the public, it's imperative. It cannot exist without it happening in the private first. It's just like everything will happen physically, that have to manifest itself spiritually first. You understand, my people? So again, surety, a legal person who take responsibility for the principal's performance of an undertaking, for example, the appearing in court or for the payment of debt. and it's synonymous with grantor or sponsor. Now it's a surety bond, a risk transfer mechanism. So you say the surety bond is a risk transfer mechanism. The obligee is transferring the risk to the surety. The surety will stand as the principal's debt grantor. Surety bond grants the surety 3 rights that have been granted under common law, namely 1, right of exoneration, which is the surety has the right to require the principal to perform the obligation the principal is responsible for. 2, rights of reimbursement. That means I'm not forgiving back my money when I talk about and I put up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in surety. The surety has a right to be reimbursed by the principal. So me, the principal, have to pressure them criminal there. Number 3, the rights of subrogation. You hear that? The surety has the right of subrogation. What is subrogation, Nestorian King? Subrogation is that the surety has the right to stand in the shoes of the principal for its protection, for the principal's protection, and to preserve funds necessary for surety's reimbursement. And what is subrogate or subrogation? To subrogate, substitute or to substitute one person or a thing for another in respect of a debt or insurance claim and any associated rights and duties. Now, people, when I say me, I give you some gems, me just not spell it out clearly, but spiritually, I'm screaming it out, Yeah, showing the importance of the document, what I call, birth certificate. And again, it's all about your perspective. You understand? And if any one of these learned people can tell me, sir, under penalty of perjury in affidavit form, that them have any kind of jurisdiction to engage or interface with the natural person outside of contract. You get me? And remember, without you knowing the elements of a contract, then you'll be, deceived easily. Easily. I should check the time to see how far me in this thing, because when I want to drag it out, it's already late. But the information is absolutely great. And it's like back in the days when me used to take on the road. When me step on the road, I crush the road. Most people are asleep, fast asleep. So it's the same thing right now. When we're out here on the YouTube streets, I crush it. Most of the people them are asleep. And that is okay. Because any traveler, trucker out there, them are gonna know some like driving when we are travel late night, man, early morning, when the crazy people them is fast asleep. And when them up on the road and move about, that's when you pull off the road and go rest. Yeah, man. Easy and simple process. Now it's a collateral, something pledged as security for repayment of a loan. Something pledged as security for not payment, but repayment of a loan. To be forfeited in the event of a default. Example, she put her house up as collateral for the bank loan. synonymous. Security, what is synonymous with collateral? Security, surety, guarantee, guarantee, grantee, pledged, bond, insurance, indemnity, indemnification, pawn, backing, deal, hostage, assurance, gauge, earnest. These words are all synonymous with collateral, my people. And it's the surety is right in the, which is synonymous with, you know, collateral. And we are talking about your persona. It's not none of the crown agents persona. They have their own, my people. So this is a new faculty of thinking. Now it's a uniform commercial code, the standardized set of commercial business law that regulates international financial contracts. Government obligation. Government obligation means a public debt obligation of the government and an obligation whose principal and interest are unconditional, guaranteed by the government. Public debt obligation. That's the government obligation. Now, I don't know about my public debt. I didn't incur any public debt. So how can any kind of debt that is, manifest in the public be any concern of I or apply to I? Again, my people, it's all about your perspective. Pledge. Pledge means a transfer of security interest in a government obligation to a bond official's agency as collateral in lieu of a bond with a surety or sureties. This is a thing where our people have to, start look at contract a meeting of the mind. So you can't presume some pledge anything to any political entity. And this is why we have to rebut these presumptions. Any antecedent contract, present it and present my mark or signature or autograph where I have consent knowingly and willingly and voluntarily. Present the contract upon which you require or upon which you use to gain jurisdiction. Present the contract. Impossible. Cannot be done. This is why we have to challenge these people. We say bearer. A bearer means that ownership of a government obligation is not recorded. Bearer means that ownership of a government obligation is not recorded. Title to such an obligation passes by delivery without endorsement and without notice. A bearer obligation is payable on its face to the holder at either maturity or call. These are financial terms now, people. It's a registered. So when you have a document and it not endorsed and thing, you know what I mean? Again, that's what it means. When it registered now, registered means the ownership of a definitive or specific government obligation listed in the issuer's record. Let me just reword it, meaning definitive government obligation that is recorded. Or no, watch this. In the issuer's record, because the issuer's record, like the court record, is separate and distinct from the organic public record. Yeah, man. Now, what's that? Registered organization. Registered organization means an organization organized solely under the law of a single state, like how you say Jamaica is. And said them get independence in 1962, but the independence was sanctioned by a statutory instrument, statutory agreement with statutory legal standards, alternatively used as rules and regulations. So the registered organization means an organization organized solely under the law of a single state or the United States by the filing of a public organic record with the issuance of a public organic record by or the enactment of legislation by the state or the United States. The terms include a business trust, such as Massachusetts Business Trust, Fidelity, Fideikommissary, formed or organized under the law of a single state, if a statute of the state governing business trust required that the business trust organic record be filed with the state. So we are talking about registered organization, no different from the surety or the legal person. Remember, all are equal before the law. All are equal under the law. So if them are say them a God, then we are God too. You understand? It's just a matter of who is right or wrong and who is good or bad. Anything whether if them say them have immunity, then we are also immune. If them say them bring a claim against us or them have a lien, some presumably or imagine, then we can do the very same thing, my people. However, make we just learn first, make we gain clarity first. Let us comprehend first, and then we step. Study your enemy, man. You have to know your adversary. You understand? Yeah, man. Obligor. Obligor includes but is not limited to an individual, a trust, an estate, a partnership, a corporation, and a sole proprietor. So that is what an obligation defined as. Secured party. The person in whose favor a security interest is created or provided for under a security agreement, whether or not any obligation to be secured is outstanding. The term includes a person that holds an agricultural lien. Agricultural lien is actually a statutory lien. You understand? Because you're under the statutory law of the sea, that's when these things can apply. But a man such as I was a fire burn for the law of the sea. You get me? Because we're up on the land. When they're out in the sea, lost and drifting. So it's a fire burn right there. B, them say, consignor. C, a person to which accounts, chattel paper, payment intangibles, or promissory note have been sold. D, a trustee, indentured trustee, agent, collateral agent, or other representative in whose favor a security interest or agricultural lien is created. So tell me something. If your mama's grantor, without your mama grant an application form for certify and record the life event. So the mother is really the creator in the people, not the government. And as a recipient, they become the public trustee, the administrators. And as the beneficiary, then you direct them. You supposed to get profit benefits and all of the goodies, not the trustees. Agricultural lien, a statutory lien that protects the seller of farming equipment by giving the seller a lien on crops growing with the equipment. On crops grown with the equipment. So because you give them equipment, them, put a lien on your crops. And interesting, kind of ignore the terminologies, but listen to what I'm really I say. An interest in corn, ducks such as wheat, corn, or soybean, or livestock secures payment or performance of an obligation for goods, service, or rental on real properties that an individual or organization leases in connection with farming operation. Regarding security transaction, it is an interest other than a security interest in farm products having three characteristics. Again, it is an interest other than a security interest in farming products having three characteristics. So this is when we are talking about secure transaction. One, it must secure payment or performance of an obligation for goods or services furnished in connection with a debtor farming operation, or of an obligation for rent on real property leased by a debtor in connection with farming. It must be created by statute in favor of a person, must be in favor of the natural person, either who in the ordinary course of business furnish goods and service, so them I talk about the shop owner them, to a debtor in connection with the debtor's farming, or who leased real property to a debtor in connection with the debtor's farming. Now, them say three, the effectiveness of the interest must not depend on the person's possession of the personal property. And then you have the UCC location where I get it. A right to keep possession of property belonging to another person until a debt owed by that person is discharged. Now you say, oh, you deal with debt, and this a UCC. You discharge debt. You can't pay a debt with a debt paper or a debt. You have to discharge a debt. And to discharge a debt, you just need a knowledge. You just need to comprehend contract law. You just need to, comprehend, accord and satisfaction, what them call acceptance for value. You know what I mean? They shall be entitled to a loan on any lot sold. Now it's a promissory note. Promissory note means an instrument that evidence a promise to pay a monetary obligation. Promissory note does not evidence an order to pay. Promissory note does not contain an acknowledgement by a bank that the bank has received for deposit a sum of money or funds. So you say the promissory note, which is the paper money where people are used right now, does not evidence an order to pay. You understand? And there is no acknowledgement by a bank that the bank received for deposit a sum of money. So people, what's going on? Clarity. It's a credit that the book data entry system are go on, but you just have to get some clarity. Public organic record. Public organic record means a record that is available to the public for inspection and is formed or organized, an organization and any record filed with, let me see, Okay, and is a record consisting of the record initially filed with. So public organic record means a record that is available to the public for inspection and is a record consisting of the record initially filed with or issued by a state or the United States to form or organize an organization, and any record for file with or issued by the state or the United States which amend or restate the initial record. So, yes, so when I place things on the public record, this is what I do. And this is called the public organic record, separate and distinct from the court record. An organic record of a business trust consisting of the record initially filed with the state and any record filed with the state which amends or restate the initial record. If a statute of the state governing business trust requires that the record be filed with the state, or C, a record consisting of legislation enacted by the legislator of a state or the Congress of the United States, which forms or organize an organization, any record amending the legislation, and any record filed with or issued by the state or the United States, which amend or restate the name of the organization. So, like when we say House of Dallas, yeah, it amend and rename the Linton O'Neill Dallas fiction, what them have out there. Pursuant to commitment with respect to an advance made or value given by a secured party means pursuant to the secured party's obligation, whether or not a subsequent evidence of default or other event not within the secured party's control has relieved or may relieve the secured party from its obligation. So the principal is the secured party. Always, you have to know that that's why we say paramount principle. There's nothing higher. Yeah, man. There's nothing higher. Now we say record. See the difference? We have public organic record and then we have record. Record, except as used in for record, of record, record or legal title, and record owner means information inscribed on a tangible medium like YouTube or stored in an electronic or other medium and is retrievable in perceivable form. I hope you now get this in a brethren. So now see the distinction between the court record when them I say them have it on court record, and when you hear me say I put it on public record, which is superior to them corporate court record, because them corporate statutory court record is maintained under the admiralty law of the sea, while the public organic record is maintained under the common law of the land. These are subtle distinctions. That's why we said dichotomy of the person, just like how there is a dichotomy between what is lawful and what is legal. And again, what is legal is not necessarily lawful. The legality requires consent. Yeah, man. Authenticate means A, to sign, or B, with present intent to adopt or accept a record or attach to or logically associate with the record an electronic sound, symbol, or process. So when people say they need to authenticate them birth certificate, I think it depends on your location, because what we have is already authenticated, duly authenticated. You understand? And it's only the slave who require some kind of permission. I said I need to get this and that. No. I don't see it that way until I get to that point. Yeah. Me I say, boy, I have a right to contract. It is unlimited. And if you presume there is a contract, present it so we can have honorable clarification and validation. And when you communicate, trying to interface with a man such as I, you have to do it in writing, and it have to always be under penalty of perjury. So now if it, it have to duly sign and seal. You can't send unsealed document to a man such as I. You send it to your slave. Because when me I send a document, it's always a certificate of fact, which is mean it's signed and sealed, duly signed and sealed. So these are subtlety you people miss and play games, but it will always come back to haunt you. Always. Yeah, because your estate is on the line, just like how it's my estate is on the line. When I'm on a going to court, when anybody are going to court, usually the prosecutor office have to carry a copy of them birth certificate, card. That is the instrument that is being dispute. It's always about contract dispute. And them I rely on some antecedent, presumed agreement. This is why we now have an issue, a rebut any and all utterance or presentment from this corporate entity and its agents, high people. Yeah, man. Negotiable instrument. All right. I'm going to wrap it up right now, and then we can touch back on negotiable instrument and, accord and satisfaction by use of an instrument and person entitled to enforce instrument. We're going to touch on these things. You know what I mean? Acceptance of draft, certified check. And a draft is like where that's a flow, would I send you a bill, or the utility company send you what them call a bill, but it's actually not a true bill. It's like a statement, which is a draft. And usually no signature not upon it. You don't even see nobody name. It's like you're a slave, and we are sending this to you as slave. And because you're a slave, you're dumb. So pay. You understand? When all you have to do is accept, endorse, and return for value, and you write, accept, approve, and return it to these people. Nothing fancy. Just the simplicity. That's it. Yeah, man. And so it's a simple, people ignore it. Value and consideration. So you see people, it's, consider it. We have to just take our time and get it together. Take our time on, this is why we don't have time for pussyfoot around out there. Before you waste time and get involved in a criminality, invest the time in this thing. You get me? If I'm gonna talk about see gun, I tell them, say, watch ya, sell a gun and buy me a computer and pay me internet for just 6 months. That's all you want. And you just go lock down in your house for 6 months. And when you emerge, you gotta smile. Because even though you're going to find yourself existing in the world, you're going to find it hard for the activities of the world, affect you. Yeah, man. Or even attract you. Yeah, you're going to find say you're in the world, but you're not really off this world. So everything where you do, it's like when everybody I do what them I do and I drive up and down, me I say, now me I travel. You understand? So it's like 1 in a million, nothing special about me. It's just that me discover say, boy, law separate and distinct from legality. You understand? And there is law, which is a constitution where these Mickey Mouse parliamentarian mess around with. Because if them barely can read and write and only can operate according to the university curriculum where them get, then them far removed from law. Just like the lawyers or the attorneys out there. Them on go practice legality, legal process. Them clueless about law or even what constitute law. They might be aware enough, but it have nothing to do with their private bar member, club member, business. Nothing at all. Nothing to do with law. But people now gonna know these things. You understand? Can't know these things until, the information reach them. So again, graveyard shift. See it there? That's close to 1 a.m. here now. So we truly ride out. Yeah, man. And I have to go and work with the artists, yeah. And know, say, boy, the most I creator, yeah, give her the power to fight this fight. Yeah, man. Now, have nothing to do with I now, Everything to do with our ancestor. Yeah. I know they might try to conquer us. I died by day and watch I by night, Lord. I pray you restore your people's sight, Lord. Wake up, people. I give I courage to fight the fight. Oh, say fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer I, Lord. Conquer I die by day and watch I by night, Lord. I know you'll restore your people's sight, Lord. I'm on crying for peace and justice. I'm on roll up to Thailand today. I see oppressor sitting on the throne, trying to dictate the price of my soul. Oh, Jah give I courage to fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer us. Well, I die by day and watch I by night. I pray you restore your people's sight. Through soul and conscience, fire burns, light inspires change. I won't fall victim. One night I by day and one time by night. I pray you restore your people's sight. Through soul and conscience, fire burns, light inspires change. I won't fall victim. Jah give I power to fight the fight. I know they might try to conquer us. I die by day and watch I by night. Give thanks and praise out the people. The brave may fall but never yield, and we so bold and brave. We so firm and strong. salute, West Indian / American Indian. Yeah. Salute. Now them call we man, human, all kind of things. But we say when I'm in the designation as West Indian, you know what I mean? American Indian or Indian. Yeah. And that go for every yard man. Cause you know, are the only way you stand up in your capacity as self-directing sovereign. Yeah, man, them can't claim jurisdiction there. Just type in your computer the word Indian and see if it not always come as an uppercase I and everything else lowercase. And then you type in more and see if you get the same effect. You type in man and see if you get the same effect. The only thing else where you type is the proper name. You'll get an uppercase followed by lowercase lettering. So do no research. It's basic. It's simple. Keep it clean out there. Keep it clean.